This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Princess of Silmar ran like a champion this afternoon. And Strong Mandate is geared down for the last 16th of a mile. Oh, this is a very promising two-year-old. Mike Smith says go with Royal Delta, and she is going indeed. Will take charges surging, and it's a photo finish. It's too close to call. Alpha wins the Woodward.
Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pannell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track. And Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com.
Good morning and welcome to the final edition from the Saratoga backstretch of Racing Across America. I'm Seth Merrow. We've been happy to be here for 40 days of the Saratoga racing season. It is a beautiful day here on the backstretch. Sunny, comfortable temperatures. If you're planning to head up, it is going to be a gorgeous closing day at Saratoga. For closing day on the show, a blockbuster lineup. The main men, Capital OTB's President John Signor in just a few moments. A little bit later on, NYRA CEO and President Chris Kay, and our usual Monday morning guest, Andy Serling, will be the last guest of 2014. But before we get into the guest lineup, our usual backstretch buzz piece from Jeff Carl. Jeff talks a little bit about meeting Charlie Lopresti and Wise Dan within the past couple of days. So we'll send it to Jeff right now. We'll be back momentarily. Take it away, Jeff.
Good morning, Seth. Coming to you from the winner's circle here on the final morning of the 2014 Saratoga race meet. It's Labor Day. It's come to a close. It's about that time. It's getting a little bit chilly in the morning. It's quite foggy here this morning. The leaves are starting to change, so it's time to wrap up this meet. And wrapped up is the trainer's title. Todd Pletcher secured that yesterday. Going into today, as far as the jockeys are concerned, Javier Castellano 4 up on Irad Ortiz. It would be quite the feat for Irad to pass him today. Irad has 8 mounts. Javier has 10 as of right now before scratch time. So it appears Javier Castellano will once again win the jockey's title here at Saratoga. So congratulations to both those gentlemen. Well deserved. You know, Seth, when I woke up this morning, I still had not had that one moment for me in the Saratoga 2014 meet. And it didn't come to me until I was driving through the barn area this morning. Through the fog, I looked over near Charlie Lopresti's barn. I saw Charlie Lopresti walking Wise Dan himself, 2-time horse of the year, walking around the ring in the fog. It was quite the special moment for me. Kind of took me back to when I first came here in 1985 as an exercise rider, and I was got to see Mom's Command and Lady Secret charging down the backstretch in the test stakes. And for me to be able to see Wise Dan this morning, I actually pulled up, was able to speak with Charlie Lopresti for a few minutes, able to pet the big horse. It was a tremendous effort he made here on Saturday. This is a horse, as I said, 2-time horse of the year, probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, I would have to say. And he had every reason to not win on Saturday, or several reasons not to win, but he refused to lose, and he was brought in here to the winner's circle to the appreciation of the crowd, and I certainly appreciate seeing him this morning. So thank you, Saratoga. Thank you, Wise Dan. We'll see you here next year. And Seth, I'm going to send it back to you in Racing Across America.
Thanks, Jeff. All right. Racing Across America, final day. As I noted, we have the big guns in here. We'll start things out with the president of Capital OTB, John Signor. Good morning, John.
Hey, Seth. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Happy to have you on board. We had you on board on day 1 and now day 40. We'll talk a little bit about the racing up here and how OTB fared over the past 40 days of racing. Before we do that, though, yesterday was a really special day up here. A guy who you hear on the loudspeakers down at the teletheater time and time again, Tom Durkin, and it was a really nice ceremony up here. The crowd up here absolutely appreciative. They had a little get together at the Hall of Springs last night with a lot of media people and Tom's friends and people from the NYRA organization. So it was really a great day honoring one of the greatest race callers of all time.
Absolutely, and it was great to be here. I was here, you were here. There's no doubt about it. Durkin is the best, in my view. He's the one I've listened to most of my adult life. And I remember being here, I think 2009 maybe, with Rachel Alexandra. And,
yeah.
I mean, the roof came off the place, and it was probably one of his best calls ever. So, yeah, congrats to Tom Durkin, just a class guy. And he will be missed and very hard to replace. But I know they have Larry Colmus coming on, and I think that's a good thing. Larry's very good. But we will miss Tom, but it's a well-deserved retirement, going out on his own terms, and good luck to him. And I'm sure we'll hear more from him post retirement. So good luck to Tom, absolutely.
Yeah, you would have to expect so. And so within the past couple of days, it may have been NYRA yesterday, but one of the guests within the past couple of days put it absolutely correctly. He's been the soundtrack for racing for the past 30
he really
years.
has, and just phenomenal calls. So it'll be hard to replace him. There's no doubt about it.
But we can all go back and listen to that. That's the nice part about the internet. Fire up YouTube, and you can catch all of those calls and relive those moments, which they did with a big call on the board, and that was kind of fun too during the ceremony. One of Tom's favorite call, and we all got to watch that. And it was also nice. The spinaway was his last call, and as he called him under the wire, there was a huge ovation from the crowd.
Yes.
That was fun too.
Yeah, and ironically, there was a downpour right before the last race, and then everything stopped for the ceremony when Tom came down in the winner's circle. So a fitting tribute. The sky, even the gods realized, let's make this a nice ceremony for the crowd and for Tom, and again, well deserved.
Yeah, and his little speech also, another dry eye in the house after that. I'm sure you can pick that up on the internet as well. It was a really nice ceremony. And a reminder, Tom will be out at the Big Red Spring starting at noon today. So if you want to stop out, he's going to sign autographs, say hello to people, so that should be fun as well. That was one of the big events. Jockey's Legends Day up here was kind of fun. They've had the Heritage Days up here on some of the events at the track. The racing has been great. The Jimmy Jerkins Exacta in the Travers. I thought the Woodward lived up to its billing with
Absolutely.
a great stretch run. We've seen some
Absolutely.
nice 2-year-olds, but what were your thoughts about the NYRA meet?
Yeah, I mean, the racing's been superb up here. It always is, but it seemed like this year even more so. I think, and you and I were just talking about it off camera. I think that the meet has gone flawlessly. It's really, NYRA's done an incredible job. It's really been a terrific meet. I think the weather has, as we know,
Always
the
does.
weather really impacts how, the bottom line of the meet. And the weather's been perfect up here. I had a couple rainy days, but for the most part, it was 85 and comfortable every day. There were no 95 and humid, and people really dreading going to the track because it's going to be too hot. They had great weather. They took advantage of it and put out a great racing product. And kudos to Chris Kay, who's going to be on with you after me, and the NYRA staff. And they did a great job, and they should be proud of the meet they put on. And I think the public responded with the attendance numbers, I think, are up. I mean, you look at some of these attendance numbers, they're pretty, great days. And I think it's, it was worthy of the meet that NYRA put up, the attendance numbers being up. So it's altogether, I thought it was a great meet.
And I know you're a very busy guy, obviously heading up Capital OTB, but you're also a race fan. And so when you get a chance, I know you come up here and just enjoy the races and become part of the crowd. And the crowd up here is just so knowledgeable and appreciative. Yeah. And they had a good product, and I think there was a great response as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the Paddock Bar outdoors yesterday for the last few races, and when Tom Durkin gave his final call, everybody at the Paddock Bar started applauding. Absolutely, and the respect for Tom, and just I think it was kind of an applause for Tom, but also just in general for the meet. It was a great meet, and as I said, I didn't see any issues whatsoever with the meet. I think it was run very well, and NYRA did a very good job. I think the addition of the high-def TVs, the picnic tables. I think if you look at the porch, they added, it's funny, I had a meeting with Chris Kay last year, and he talked about adding tables to the porch, and they did it this year. I think that was successful. So kind of everything NYRA did, I think, worked to the benefit of the fans, and the fans responded.
And not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think Capital OTV plays a part in, I think the Saratoga fans are so knowledgeable. On big race days, they appreciate the big performances. The horses come back to the winner's circle and get ovations. And I think we kind of play into that, hopefully, giving folks information all year long. But that's one of the things that makes Saratoga so much fun. As I say, on those big races, they applaud. They know stories, claiming horses that have maybe a win streak. They're into that. They're very, very knowledgeable.
It's amazing, and they had, I know a trainer, Abigail, can't remember the last name. That's won her first race here, a local Saratoga trainer, so that's fantastic. Look, the fact that the thing I think that differentiates Capital OTB from all the other OTBs in the state is our TV station. I think we do a great job otherwise. I think our clubhouse is the premier simulcast facility in the state. But during Saratoga, this is what separates us. We give more coverage, provide more coverage to the fans than anybody else, by far. It really, you know, and it's special up here. And I'm glad that we're able to do that. And, you know, myself, being a horse racing fan, you know, it's extra because I want to make sure the fans get everything they can. I want to make sure they have a great experience and, you know, and they're able to kind of get the insider's view by, you know, with the interviews we do every day. You know, Mark had that streak where, you know, he's interviewing Kieran McLaughlin, and Kieran would go out and win the stakes race that day. Or, you know, we bring kind of the backstretch to the fans. And there's really no other way for them to get it other than through us. So it's really, you know, I'm proud of the product we put out there. I'm proud of the job, you know, you did, Seth, with Mark and Anthony and Jeff Carl and Matt Graves on the internet and handicapping side. You know, Brian Nadeau, kind of a new addition to the team, but Brian, I hope, will be around a long time. I like him. He's a good guy. He's got good opinions. Steve Bick, your partner on Sundays. So just the full complement. And then obviously, and you mentioned it at the last show, the staff, the OTB staff, who's up here daily. You know, they get up here early, they set everything up, and you don't see that part of it. But they do a terrific job. The guys back in the studio
Absolutely.
Do a terrific job. So it's a big operation. It takes a lot of time to get this thing up and running and to keep it running. And our guys really, you know, a job well done by everybody as far as, you know, OTB and the TV station.
Yeah, and I will pass on, through me, I will pass on feedback from the fans to you because at the top of the organization, it has to be you're okay that gets us up here and gets things going. But during the month of the Saratoga meet, the month and a half essentially, boy, I don't walk through the clubhouse on any given day when 5 people don't walk up to me and say how much they appreciate the Saratoga morning programming. Because Saratoga, really, there's no meet like it in the world. It's the best horses, it's the best owners, the best trainers, and they're all a golf cart ride away. And so on the mornings, we bring them to folks, and everybody, as I say, they're very, very appreciative. And so I'll pass that along. Through me, I will pass the feedback.
Yeah, and I've had that as well. I've been in the backstretch where, you know, people have just come up to me out of the blue and recognized me and just said, you know, thanks for, you know, putting all you do for racing, and not me, but what the corporation does, you know, and that's nice. It's nice to get positive feedback, and we try to do the best we can and give the best information we can during this just phenomenal meet. I can't believe it's over, to be honest, but I'm glad, you know, I'm proud of the job we did. I think it's a good representation of what Capital OTB, you know, gives back to the industry, you know, and this is a big part of it. In addition to, you know, the money we give back to the counties, which is, you know, what we're really created for and to support the racing industry. But during this meet, you know, nobody provides as much information on horse racing and interviews and just insights and handicapping than this program, you know, our programming. And I'm glad we're able to do it, and hopefully we're able to do it for a long time. And I would add that, you know, NYRA allows us to be back here. You know, we work with John Embriel every year. We talked to John about, you know, we'll get the trailer back here. I think we increased the size of the trailer. It's a little bigger than it used to be. But you know, they support us as well. Chris K, you know, obviously Chris allows us back here. I think they realize the contribution we're making to the community and to the racing industry by kind of pumping up the NYRA, but the Saratoga meet daily, and we're happy to do it. We're happy that people come to the track. It's a beautiful track, and that's always our motto, Seth, right? Come to the track if it's a nice day. If you haven't been here, if you can't make it, then, you know, maybe go to OTB Branch or OTB Easy Bet or bet online with us. So.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. It's a win-win situation because we've said it before. You walk out in the backyard, and there are folks who are clearly not dedicated race fans, but I think a lot of them may be on their way to it when they come up to Saratoga. I think a lot of folks get introduced to the game up here, and there's no better place to do it. And then the other 10.5 months of the year, they could be OTB customers. So it's a great come up and experience it, and that's the way to develop new fans.
It is funny, you know, you see, you know, everything's crowded up until day 40, and then suddenly, you know, half the crowd goes home, and it's like, where are they going? You know, we still have Belmont racing to go, but it's been a great meet. And we've had, you know, numbers-wise at Capital OTB, we've had a very strong meet. Things have gone very well. It's funny, the last 2.5 weeks, our numbers have exploded. And I kind of expected that the whole meet. And it was like, the first 3 weeks, it was a little slow. And I'm like, geez, what's going on? And we really picked it up at the end. And I have to say thank you to our bettors and our supporters. Without them, we can't do the programming we do. We can't. We don't have the Clubhouse Race Book and offer the things we do, the promotions we do. I mean, we've done more promotions this summer as well. We have the 1% bonus today, and every Monday we had it. We did, promotions at the Teletheater on Wednesdays. We had bankrolls on Thursdays with Anthony Mormino. We had the weekend bankrolls up here with Brian and Anthony and Dick Powell. We try to get back to the fans through that as well. So even if they can't make it up here, they can, they can play online, they can follow along on TV and still feel like they're part of the Saratoga meet and follow along with the handicapping and the betting. And I think that's, it's been a lot of fun. And we've had a couple successful weekends and some not so successful, but I know everybody's trying their best, and it's been a great experience.
Yeah, the bankrolls are always a lot of fun, and if you could knock it out of the park every time, we wouldn't be doing the bankroll. We'd be living in Bermuda or something.
You got it.
So,
you got it, yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, and not just if you're a participant, but if you sit and watch during the afternoon and see what some of the handicappers are playing, can give you some insights and some ideas. And I've said that before. Folks watch the handicappers report in the morning, and some of them say, I watch, and then I kind of do my own handicap, and I say. That's really exactly what you should do. Right. The fun is doing your own handicapping. But if in the morning we say something that just tweaks, there's an angle I like, and you throw it into your mix. And I will say this, talking about developing new fans, I had the crazy Shepherd winner on top on Saturday, the $50 horse. And as I was walking up to from the winner's circle through the box seats, just prior to that race, a young couple stopped me. They had to be 22, or a guy and his girlfriend. And they said, hey, can you tell us where the betting windows are? And is there another race left? And I said, yeah, there's another race left. And as they explained, it was the first time at the track. They'd been given directions and wound up at the harness track and realized that was the wrong spot. And they came over and said, this is the big track, the fun. I said, you got one more race. So I reached into an empty box and pulled out a program, opened it to the last race. And I said, if you're new, just bet something across the board, pick a name. And then I said, but I kind of like this horse in this race.
Great.
And the race later, after the race was over, I saw him there. Hey! So I think I developed 2 new fans.
Absolutely. That's great. That's a great, and that's the way you get. If they can win the first time, that's what they remember. I won that first time.
Absolutely.
And we had just on a personal note, we had a friend of mine who's actually a former OTB employee, passed away earlier this year, and we had a race named after him. The 8th race yesterday. His family was in town. And I just want to give NYRA, thank NYRA for helping us get that together. It was, their family, passed away very recently, only 50 years old, at Olimpo. And John Durso, I see, is here, helped out. Dave O'Rourke helped out. So that was, we appreciate it. And then just that, that personal touch that they were able to give to that ceremony made it a lot nicer, and the family really appreciated it. So on a personal note, I want to pass that along as well.
Very good. And let's just wrap up. We've talked about your thoughts on the meet up here and how things went down at the Teletheater, OTB, Capital OTB in general during the meet. What's coming up, closing day today, but still, plenty of racing in action, certainly.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's the thing. Today does not end racing until next July. You know what I mean? You still have the fall meet at Belmont, which is a great meet. We would just, the fans. We're doing at the Clubhouse Racebook. We have a new concessionaire now. We're going to be doing many more promotions there. A lot of football promotions. We really want to get that place going on the horse racing side, but also on the entertainment and sports side. So if you haven't been there, it is under we have a new concessionaire. We'd love you to come. There's going to be drink specials, food specials, promotions around the football games. I know the first games is Thursday. So, and also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but our internet is up, 15% this meet. We're up over $1 million this meet just on the internet. So it's been terrific. I think a lot of the promotions we're doing through there with our cash rewards and everything else, the Bet 50, Get 50 has really paid off. And
handicapping contest series continues.
Handicapping contest, yeah. The bankroll, you have to have an account to get into the bankrolls and things like that, all the promotions. So it's an incentive to get into to get an account. And we've seen a lot of response from our bettors, and it's been terrific. So, and I want to thank, and Andy, I know Andy Serling's going to be on later. I want to thank Andy for everything he's done for us this meet. I know he's come on, Eric Donovan on the DRF staff. So I know Chris K is waiting in the wings here, so I'm gonna cut it short, although I've been on pretty long, I guess, right? So just want to thank you again, Seth. I want to thank the staff here at OTB for the great work they've done. And it doesn't end here. We'll see you guys next week at the clubhouse. So. And I want to thank all the fans that have supported Capital OTB and support horse racing in general. It's a great sport, and it's going to get better. So we appreciate it.
And that was a great part of the Tom Durkin speech as he wound up and kind of got around to in a lengthy way that had you guessing, but he thanked the fans as being the impetus for his being such a good participant of the game. And it's the truth. The fans are what makes us out here. So, John, again, we appreciate the visit. John Signor, Capital OTB president. As noted, it's been a great meet. The racing continues. We'll be right back here on the network, of course, with our morning programming starting on Friday. So tune in for all of that. John, we appreciate the visit.
Great. Thanks, Seth.
John Signor, we'll go to our break. When we come back, Chris K, CEO and president of the New York Racing Association, for a little meet wrap-up right after this.
Face it, most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. CapitalOTB.com.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
But here comes Ide with a final try. Who will win the Travers? It will be too close to call. VE surging after Wicked Strong.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
I'm Jeff Carl. Join me Saturdays and Sundays at 9 for the Handicappers Report. We'll handicap the top tracks across the country and help you prepare for the weekend in racing. That's the Handicappers Report, weekends at 9, only here on the OTB TV network.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this closing day, live from the Saratoga backstretch. Again, it's a beautiful day. If you're headed on up, you are going to really enjoy the last day of racing. And as it is the last day of racing, we're happy to be joined by Chris K, CEO and President of the New York Racing Association. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. We were talking a little bit during the break, discussing how each of us enjoyed the meet so far. Day number 40. It's the last day. 39 days in the books. One more to go. Just give us your overall impressions.
I think it's been a very good meet. You know, we said we wanted to accomplish a few goals, and I believe we've done so. We wanted to improve the quality of racing. We had fewer races, and the quality was fantastic. We had so many photo finishes this year. It was pretty spectacular. We also wanted to enhance the guest experience, and I think we've done that. We were just talking a few minutes ago about the fact that we've had some great events this year. We had Jockey Legend Day, where we had 16 of the greatest jockeys in the history of our sport all here at one time at the track. But then we also had a fantastic Saratoga Red Jacket Day where we honored 3 of the giants of our game, Alan Jerkins, Wayne Lucas, and Tom Durkin. And then for anyone that was here yesterday, it was a very special moment as we said goodbye to Tom Durkin, our beloved race caller.
That really was a very nice event, and the weather, somehow the gods cooperated with the rain stopping just in time for the ceremony. I thought Tom's speech was very good, and I said, as I was talking with John Signor before, and folks over last night and this morning as well, the fans up here are just so savvy, and the applause they gave when he finished the spin-away call, and the applause he got as he came into the winner's circle for the ceremony, and then as he gave his speech. I am impressed again and again by how savvy the fans up here are.
They are, and you know, some people were encouraging me to postpone it, and I walked out and looked at all those fans and said, there's no way we're going to postpone it. And I'm just so pleased that the weather did break so we could enjoy that ceremony so that everyone could see it.
Let's talk a little bit about, as I say, we're 39 days in now, so just give us some of your impressions. You've done some new things and whatnot. What worked and what maybe needs to be tweaked before 2015?
Well, I think the fact that we put the 750 new high-definition television sets worked very, very well as the enhanced sound system. I also think the idea of having a place where people could connect with a horse was a big success. For those that have not been to Horse Sense, which is near the Gate B on Union Ave, you ought to come. And so many children of all ages, I should say, would just, you could see their faces light up when they got a chance to touch the horse. So all of that worked well. I also think our decision to run fewer races worked well. I think that the owners began to understand what we were doing very quickly, and I think we'll have even better quality for next year.
Very good. And one of the resounding successes was the season passes, I think. What's the situation there in 2015? Will that still be there? And there was some consternation about how they were plugged into the attendance figures. Is that, you're going to look and tweak at that at all?
Well, we used the same approach in 2014 that we used in 2013. The only difference is that more people bought season passes, and I think that's a good thing, not a bad thing. I was very, very appreciative of the fact that we had a great partner with Stewart Shops.
Yeah.
And as a former retailer, I know that if you have a more convenient way to buy something and marketing behind it, more people will buy it. And that's exactly what Stewart Shops provided to us. So I thought that was a great partnership between the two of us.
Yeah.
And we'll certainly have season passes again next year.
Yeah, the feedback I got was very good, so the game plan will be similar in 2015.
Correct.
Very good. Let's talk a little bit about, I want to get your take. As I said, I think the fans over here are so savvy. But you're the guy who's at the head of the facility, the head of the organization. I've said it all month long. I've said it for years. I love Saratoga. Saratoga is the pinnacle of racing, not only here, but maybe worldwide. And obviously, it's great here. The fans are fun. But I think part of what makes it so special is the community, the local media coverage of it. Talk about, as I say, you're the head of this actual facility. But what are your thoughts on the tie-in with the community as well?
Well, I love this community. And in fact, in many of the interviews, I've said, people ask, what makes Saratoga so special? And I say we have the finest racing, we have this iconic building, and we have this fantastic downtown area. Yeah. And so what we tried to do this year was find ways where we could work more closely with the city. And one example is the fact that rather than have our draw on property for the Travers, we had it downtown.
Yeah, and that was a fun event, too.
It was.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely. Down at Druthers. Do want to ask you, I have to ask you, because it seems like going back to when I was a kid, there was the 4-week meet, and kind of leading into that expanding, it seemed like we were getting the rumor year in and year out towards the end of the meet, and it has now continued. Will it expand further? And obviously, over the past week and a half or so, there's been that rumor floating out. 8 weeks, 5 days a week. You want to break any news on the show, or tell us what 2015 has in store for the racing calendar?
Well, this is my second year, and so now I've learned that one of the traditions of Saratoga in the last week is to talk about next year. And I know some people are saying, well, we're going to come up on July 1st. We're going to come up to Saratoga on July 1st, and I said, wait a minute. If you remember all of the press releases and all the speeches I've given, I've said we want to have 4 great events this year. And the second of those great events was the inaugural Stars and Stripes on the July 4th holiday. And we intend to make that into a very successful event year in and year out at Belmont, where we bring horses from all around the world to New York City to race at Belmont. So obviously, and in fact, I think that this all started as a result of some comments purportedly made by one of our board members. If you go back and listen to the radio show, he didn't make those comments at all.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're exactly right. It is a tradition. About a week and a half in, and over on the front side, over the past week and a half, I've been stopped probably 3 times a day. Hey, have you heard 8 weeks, 5? What do you know? And I say, same thing I know at the end of every year. And it's always talked about. But give us a little comment. You talked about, and that July 4th weekend, the turf stakes down there were great. A lot of fun. I think there's a lot of potential going forward. But your thoughts overall on that big day concept in New York?
I like it. I think it's, no matter what sport we're talking about, you cannot maintain a high level of interest of your fans. In baseball, a game in July or the dog days of August, they call it, you don't generate much interest. But when you get to the playoffs and in particular the World Series, there's interest. Same thing in football. Certainly the same thing in pro basketball and hockey. So in our sport, what can you do? And so what we're doing is saying, here are the days you absolutely must be here. These are must-see events. And this year it was the Belmont Stakes Day, the Stars and Stripes. We put more money into the Travers and into the Whitney as well as the Travers, so that we had 4 big days. And we're going to do more to make those 4 big days even bigger next year. And then we may try to make a few other days into big days.
Very good.
You're right. You said it earlier. We have very savvy fans, and so if we can say it's worth coming to these savvy fans, I know they'll come.
And talk a little bit about the media coverage, which I think stepped up this year, particularly the television coverage. You had MSG covering stakes races. You had the Jockey Club tour on Fox and a number of visits by NBC. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with all of that. Number one, we had a great partnership with NBC. They were here last year, and now we have this relationship with Fox. Fox is a little bit different storytelling than NBC. Yeah. And I think it's resonating with a different component of our population. So I think that's great. And we enjoy our relationship with MSG. If you've been watching that, you've seen where we also now have a segment called Executive Insider, where I try to interview people who are great people in our sport and may not always be known by our fans. And so whether it be the charity work of a John Hendrickson or a Michael Dubb, or whether it be the work of our new safety steward, Hugh Gallagher, or the relationship we have with the state. These are things that you don't normally cover, and it's been great for us to be able to provide those kind of segments and educate our fans in that way.
Yeah, I love the behind-the-scenes stuff, and we try to do that a lot of that here during the meet. Give folks behind-the-scenes introductions to some of the folks who make the game go, but otherwise people would not be familiar with. All right, it is closing day. We're wrapping up today, but as we noted with John Signor, racing does not end. Give us a little update on what folks can expect starting Friday.
Well, we're going to be back at Belmont, and we have a great fall plan for Belmont. We've got, of course, Jockey Club Gold Cup Day it's September 27th, I believe. And for all of you who love, and there are many of us up here who love Tom Durkin, there'll also be a Tom Durkin Day. Nice. In conjunction with Jockey Club Gold Cup Day. There is a bobblehead.
There you go. There you go.
I would do the bobble myself, but I hurt my neck. And then we're going to have a wonderful Empire Showcase Day in the middle of October. In the beginning of October, we're also going to highlight all we can do for breast cancer awareness.
Nice. And so, again, the racing does not end. That Belmont Fall Meet is always very, very special. I want to ask you one other thing that just as a fan, and I think a lot of New York fans are curious about this. It's been a long time since the Breeders' Cup has been in New York. Is that something that NYRA is going to be looking at and kind of pursuing?
Well, I think, this was asked of me last year when I spoke to the Breeders' Cup Board of Directors, and they were trying to wonder when we were going to finish our relationship with the state and what we might do in the way of enhancing the Belmont Park. And so certainly we're interested in having the Breeders' Cup here, but we have some other things we need to address first.
And what is the timeline on that? I think a lot of people, myself included, are not confused about the situation with the reorganization board and the timeline. How does that work?
Well, it's very easy to be confused because under the statute, it says that we need to have approval 3 years after the board has been seated, and seated is described as a majority of board members. So I believe that occurred on October 17th, 2012. Thus, we need to have this done by October 17th, 2015. The statute also says we need to submit our plan 6 months beforehand, or the middle of April 2015.
And so what that means is obviously Saratoga 2015 NYRA is in control.
Yes.
So all the decisions that will be made will be made.
In fact, in light of that, we are already beginning our plans to make the Saratoga 2015 even a better meet. If it's one thing I can say is that last year I spent a lot of time walking around the grandstand, the clubhouse, the backyard, and everybody, like you said, we love Saratoga. And I would ask, well, what can we do to make it better? And they said, how about better TVs? And we provided them. And how about a better sound system? We provided it. And so we've been doing the same kind of thing this year, only on a much more sophisticated basis. We've had a number of people out there conducting surveys.
Oh, nice.
And on the mini pads. And we'll have more data to use as we plan for an even better 2015 Saratoga meet.
And if fans have feedback, do you promote?
Sure.
Email or go onto their website and shoot out an email? And
a number have. A number have written to me. And what's been really gratifying this year is walking the streets of Saratoga, and people shake your hand and they say, good job, and then they offer some constructive advice, and it's been great. And some of that advice we're already putting into place.
Yeah, the fans are out there and they're sitting there every day and they're plugging in, so picking their brains is never a bad idea. One of the things you've added this year is that low roller handicapping contest as a player. That's a fan enhancement that I've enjoyed. But again, the new TVs. The Heritage Days out in the Saratoga Pavilion, they've been fun as well. You have any fan enhancements that you may be thinking about already for 2015, or are we too early?
Well, we're going to have the Tom Durkin Replay Center. That's one enhancement. We're going to build a true Saratoga Red Jacket Walk of Fame for next year, and so those will be two changes. We're going to look at some of the physical plant to see if some changes need to be made to make the area more accessible. I was really pleased with the daily events with Taste New York on Thursdays with the New York wines and cheeses, and Friday with New York craft brews and ciders, and Sunday with New York food. We'll do that again next year. I think the pavilion was a big success.
Yeah, again, those enhancements I mentioned certainly were hits, and we'll see what comes in 2015. Chris Kay, CEO and President of the New York Racing Association, we absolutely appreciate the visit. Congratulations on a really nice meet 2014 up here at Saratoga, and good luck going forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right,
Great
Chris
to have you
Kay
here.
from the New York Racing Association. We'll take our next break. Speaking of New York Racing Association, our last guest of the season. It's a regular Monday visit from Andy Serling. Stay tuned.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
When Saratoga ends, championship racing continues. Beginning September 3rd with the Del Mar Futurity, live from the West Coast. Then, on September 27th, the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup headlines the biggest day of the Belmont Fall Meet. For these and all the championship thoroughbred races throughout the coming year, there's no better place to watch and wager than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
Fascinated by the world of horse racing? Interested in honing your handicapping skills? Class is in session. Night school, Monday nights. Easy to access online. It's free, interactive, and informative for the casual and serious race fan. Horse Player Now Buzz. Live horses to watch emailed to you daily. Our eyes, your prize. Night School in the Buzz. Visit horseplayernow.com for details.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As noted before the break, our final guest of the meet. Could we put the punctuation on it in any better of a way than being joined by Andy Serling of the New York Racing Association? Good morning, Andy.
Morning, Seth. I think you and I have already seen each other this morning. It was a little bit earlier. I can't think of a better way to end my meet than to be here with you. And, you know, I love what you guys do.
We enjoy having you here every Monday, and we meet in other venues, on the front side and other places as well.
As you know, because I just constantly complain, I love watching you guys in the morning. It makes my morning up here. I mean, there's some mornings I have to get to the track a little earlier, but in the mornings that I'm able to be home, I just love watching all the stuff you do, and you do a great job up here. You really do a great job. All kidding aside, we're friends, but you do a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And let's get our first two guests. We've talked about this. Let's just get your impressions of Saratoga 2014.
It was really awful. It was terrible. You know, what can you say? I hate being here. I hate the racing. There's no good racing. The weather was awful. You know what I love at Saratoga is, you know, they talk about the humidity. You know, these people that don't come to Saratoga. One thing we have not had much of in the last few years here is humidity. It's been a great summer. It's just such a pleasure to be here and a privilege to be here, all kidding aside. Forgetting about everything else, and I could sit here and ramble on about a million things that are great about Saratoga, but it really is the fans. And the fact that you come here and people are so unbelievably nice that you can't help but be in a good mood. There are days I come here and sometimes occasionally just a little down or you're not having your best day, and people are so nice to you that it's impossible not to be in a good mood around here. And I don't think we can thank there are customers, you know, and that makes them important. But the way they treat us, you're a very welcome guest up here in Saratoga, and I know I do, as well as everyone I work with appreciates that a great deal.
I agree completely. I said it earlier on the show. I've said it right along. The fans up here are so savvy in the town, and the local media just make it very, very special. And so it's more than just the track and the great connections and horses that are over here. It's the fans that make it as well.
You have an obligation to them. You do. And I think that's one of the reasons we do the radio show, you know, to bring that downtown and, you know, to give people as much as you possibly can.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to bring that up a little bit later. Congratulations on a really nice season with the radio show. I made it down for probably about 3 of them. And the last 2, it was standing room only down at the Parting Glass. And this past week, very, very entertaining with Bill Mott and Jerry Bailey on the stage at the same time.
Nah, they were great. I mean, they were terrific. They both were guests last year. Separately, got them together this year. Bob NYRA joined us. He was a lot of fun. It was a great way to end what was a really fun season. And once again, it's really for the fans of the game, and you can't do enough for them to have an opportunity to do that downtown. Is something that I'm privileged to have that chance.
Yeah, it was really great. All right, let's take a look at a couple of races over the weekend, and you can give us some of your thoughts on really a couple of nice stakes. There was a bunch of nice stakes over the weekend, but we'll take a look at a couple of them. I want to first look at the Bernard Baruch going back to Saturday, the return of Wise Dan. Wise Dan gets it done. Had to work for it, though, with a reinvigorated Optimizer, giving him all he could ask for down to the wire. Number 4 will be Wise Dan. Number 2 is Optimizer. And again, it was a ding-dong battle. I'm sure Charlie Lepresti was hoping for something a little bit easier than this, but it is a successful return for Wise Dan.
Yeah, I mean, this was just such an exciting moment, and even reliving it, Seth, it just brings up so much that's great about Saratoga. And you look at the 4 stakes we ran on Saturday, each one told a very different story, and a story, part of the story of what makes racing such a great game. And Wise Dan has the ability, and he's done it now 2 straight times, to win races when he is nowhere near his very best. And that's a remarkable achievement. He didn't run his best race down at Churchill Downs. He still won it, and he beat a horse who came back to win the 4-star Dave, a very talented horse to seek again. Well, Optimizer, people forget how good he was when he was good. The 3rd place finisher, 5 Iron, ran a terrific race in here. This was nowhere near the top Wise Dan race, but he still won it. And it was very exciting and emotional, I think, for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, we're also analysts of racing, and we're bettors, and we're looking at these races and trying to evaluate them going forward. Now, obviously, he can and likely will improve with a subsequent start, but is the Wise Dan that we've seen in the last couple of races really capable of winning his 3rd straight Breeders' Cup mile, turf mile? I don't think so.
And I didn't hear the number coming out of that, the buyer number.
Probably mid to high 90s.
Because it was a tick off the track record.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't think it was. I could be wrong.
I meant to
Whatever
look
it was.
Yesterday when I looked, it hadn't come up.
It's just not, this race is just not, listen, he's coming, I'm not knocking him. This horse is coming off a 4-month layoff. Obviously, he had issues. Unfortunately, they weren't nearly as bad as a lot of people thought they would be, but, and he will improve off of it. He's an amazing animal, but looking at him right now, I think he's very vulnerable going forward. You can't help but feel that way. And I think if he's able to achieve and win the Breeders' Cup again, it'll make it all that much more impressive.
Yeah, so it was a fun event. You know, last weekend, middle of the card, the two-time Horse of the Year, Wise Dan, gets it done.
The place was just electric. It
crazy.
was really a very, very exciting moment in a meet of exciting moments.
Let's take a look at another exciting moment, an exciting race later on the card on Saturday. It was the Grade 1 Woodward. I think those of us who tried to get a little clever thought we may have a speed duel that might melt down with It's My Lucky Day and Marino maybe going out and ding-donging it. Well, we won the battle and lost the war. They did go out and ding-dong it, but they never came back to the field. What an incredible stretch run. It's My Lucky Day will get it done, just get it done over Marino.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a lot of things to say about this race. First of all, it was a terrific race and a really fun race to watch. But it was a track Saturday very much, yesterday as well, even after the rain. Well, the 9th, we can't talk about the last race, the 12th race, maybe even some Friday. The racetrack was helping carry horses with speed. So it really helped these two horses and hurt the chances of their opponents. Having said that, they may have been the best two horses in the race, but I think we're going to want to analyze these races very carefully from Saturday and Sunday going forward for who do you want to bet on and bet against out of these races. But Paco Lopez had a plan in here. You know, I think in the Whitney, they were also focused on Palace Malice and assuming that he would be so much the worst to beat that he let an opportunity slip away because he rode very passively and allowed Moreno to control the race because I think he was thinking, well, Moreno's going to go out in the front, but Palace Malice is going to take him. I want to see if I can have enough horse to at least be second behind Palace Malice, and in doing so, it compromised his chances when Palace Malice failed to show up. Clearly, the Connections had a much different idea in this race, and given how the track was playing, and because of Paco riding Stone-tastic, I was more than aware of how the track was playing. They had to be more aggressive. I thought they made a mistake early. Moreno, once again, did not break that sharply, and they had a chance to seize control of the race on the inside, best part of the racetrack. But then, if you're leading in front, you're the hunted with Moreno outside of you, maybe it becomes a faster pace. So they let him go, and then they went right after him, and it was a plan that, yeah, it probably ensured he couldn't be worse than second, but it also gave him, ultimately, his best chance to win. It was a brilliant plan, and it was perfectly executed.
Yeah, we talked about Paco Lopez yesterday with Kelly Breen, and he's an up-and-comer. And when I was on with Bick yesterday, and Bick said, you know, how long before he comes to New York? And it was interesting. Kelly Breen said, hey, it's just about a house. He likes Monmouth. I wonder if he will be one of those guys who picks his venue and kind of sticks there.
Yeah. Did Steve let you talk yesterday? I wasn't able to see that much of the show. I'm assuming you didn't get much in. But you know, I had just assumed he'd eventually come here, but I'm talking to some of the guys that know much better than I do. The impression is that he's not coming to New York, but he likes what he's doing now, and you know what? Good for him. You should be happy in life, and if you're happy in life and you're successful also, that's a gift you shouldn't give up. I'd love to have him riding in New York, but he should do what works best for him, not what works best for us.
And he does ride in New York, picking his spots like Saturday. He rides in New York pretty successfully also. All right, let's take a look at some of today's action. You've got the scratches. I don't, so I'll let you correct me if I toss out a scratched horse. But second race today, maiden special, state bred. Oh, okay. Well, the 5's my top pick.
Mine too.
I think that horse is going to be interesting maybe next time out then. But maiden special's going 6. I have it now 2, 4, and 9. I've scratched into Joshin's Giant. I think the angle on the cutback, the turf to dirt, I just found intriguing. Again, I've now scratched into it, so I'm not as enthusiastic as I was with Moonlight Fantasy, but I think the Linda Rice runner could be a little bit interesting. And Sweet Sweet of Fleet, first-time starter coming in from Finger Lakes. At 20 to 1, I found that one a little bit interesting. Had a sibling called Bobby that took 5 starts to win, but was second in the career debut. So
I'm just listening.
But
I was enjoying our final time together. This is a really, you know, it's a wonderful time
I think
for
at
me.
20 to 1, that horse is a little bit interesting. So I have that one in the mix as well. I have a 2, 4, and 9.
I'm disappointed that Moonlight Fantasy scratched out of here as well. Hopefully it's the racetrack or something. The racetrack looks pretty good out there now. And we'll see her again. I think one of the reasons you want to bet this race is you want to bet against Joshin's Giant, a horse who may be favored
like I said,
for all the wrong reasons. No, I hear you. You know, it is what it is. But this is a turf horse. Linda's numbers for it's worth turf to dirt with maiden. She's 13 for 83 with a 94% ROI. These are horses are habitual. 13 for 83 isn't that bad, 16%, but they're habitually overbet. And it's just what makes you think this horse is a dirt sprinter based on those turf races. I like Mary to Michael in here. You know, one of the things I think has been neat about this Saratoga meeting is that while Chad and Todd, unsurprisingly, finished 1-2, there were a lot of other trainers that had superb meets here, and Bruce Brown is one of them. He's got 9 or 10 wins at the meet, and I don't think a lot of people can appreciate just how difficult that is to win that many races. And Bruce has been having a sensational year. He's a very good trainer. And Mary to Michael, of course, he gets from the late Dominic Galuccio. You know, took a little money at times in its debut and really didn't do a lot of running. This is just the kind of horse in this field I think is going to come back and do a lot more running second time out for the new trainer.
Yeah, I didn't use that one, but as you're talking, it looks a little bit intriguing.
Don't let that horse, not a dissimilar look to Moonlight Fantasy. I think if you like Moonlight Fantasy, you're supposed to take another look at this horse.
All right. Third race this afternoon. It is another maiden special weight event for New York breds going 5.5 on the turf. These are 2-year-olds. I used the number 9 Fleeting from Leah Giamatti. I think she has decent numbers, first time out, elusive quality. I said on the handicappers report, in these races I'm looking for breeding, connections, various things, and none of the things I really like to focus on jump off the page. Is the 11 still in? Banana Chief?
The 11 gets
Banana
in.
Thief.
The,
All right.
6 is out. Can't get wise to me.
Then Banana Thief becomes interesting as well from Steve Asmussen.
Why?
Well, this is a horse that worked 10.2 before the sale. So that was a good workout. Then debuted in an off-the-turf event, followed up with a turf event that was a much improved number, and Asmussen's good second time out of the box. So maybe this is almost the second time out. I'm fishing. I said it, and nothing jumped out at me. I'm fishing a little bit. But I think this may be almost the second time out of the box, second time on turf. So I think that one's interesting if it gets in. And then Buddy the Elf, the first-time starter from Bruce Levine and Rapoli, I found a little bit interesting as well. So I had a 9, 11, and 8.
Noted turf horse Poovy. Do you remember Poovy?
Poovy
was actually a horse that I learned about the exemption rules for starter handicaps when she won up here a number of years ago. She ran in a starter race up here years ago. She was a decent dirt horse that Mike Rapoli actually owned. That's why this is a homebred. This is one I actually saw it, and I agree with Anthony on a horse in here in Memories of Peter. And I know you don't like Disco Rico, huh, as a sire, as a first out sire? I like Disco Rico, but...
Well, like I said, over the past 12 months, my stats were 3 seconds and 8 starters over the past 12 months for first time out.
Well, he had a winner for Gary Gullo in the dirt, but a winner for Gary Gullo, a horse that's run a few times in the meet that actually won its debut.
Maybe that didn't make
regardless, it's not. This is a half image, a full image of Disco, image of Noon, both horses for the same connections, both horses that are fast in these turf sprints. Jimmy Ryerson is a very dangerous trainer, and he's good in turf sprints. I think Members of Peter is a very dangerous horse in here. I also think Mark My Style is very dangerous. A half to Magical Moon. This is a Noon mark, unfortunately. Magical Moon, more turf influence, but the Dam herself is worse than Mike Matz had. It was a pretty good turf horse, so I think there's significant pedigree in both the 3 and 5, and they're the 2 places I'm looking in this race.
All right, like I said, I didn't have any strong opinions, so I can't argue with selections there.
That's okay. I'll run 7th and 8th in here.
If you sussed out something better, I have no arguments there. The 5th race this afternoon, maiden special, state breds going 6 furlongs. I went with the entry here. I think on the numbers, the betting public is going to go in that direction. I think on the numbers, these are the horses you have to beat. But again, it's not a race with a super strong opinion. I thought Freudex at 8-1 was a little bit interesting off of the career debut. Thought that was one to build on. Has laid off since, and there's only a couple of workouts, and so I found that a little dicey. But I think if this horse can come back in some kind of form, and then Hidden Warrior at 10-1 on the improving numbers from Linda Rice, I thought that one was interesting as well. So I had the 1 entry, 3 and 4.
Yeah, Freudex is an interesting horse because it comes out of a race that featured a huge pace and was really kind of picking up the piece in the end. But I agree with you. I thought that horse ran well in there and is definitely a contender. The entry is going to be a crazy, crazy short price here, and they probably should be a short price, and I'm not against them. They may run 1-2 in this race, but I think there's a possibility that they'll just get so overbet that everybody else blows up, and you want to keep your options open. There's a horse I'm just a little interested in here, and that's the 8 Super Nicky. This horse took significant money in its debut, and that was a day where the rail was gold at Aqueduct. Might have been as strong a gold rail as we had the entire winter at Aqueduct. And Super Nicky ran very well, chasing 2 to 3 wide the whole way around the racetrack. A virtually impossible trip, lost to Testosterone, who took advantage of the gold rail, and then came back in a very competitive field. I think that was Gotham Day. And didn't really take any money. The race was wired and didn't run well and has now been off for 6 months. So clearly something must have happened to a horse they really liked first time out, so I'm not worried about this horse coming back and running well fresh. Now, it's going to have to run fast, and it did, the 54 buyer, but it was compromised. And if you say it was a fair racetrack, maybe it's a horse that would run in the high 60s. Is that necessarily good enough to beat the 1 and 1/8? Well, the 1 comes out of a race. I know Quantos came back and legitimized the figures of the 3rd horse. Still a little bit questionable whether or not that figures it should be that high. Ready Heart and Soul's fig, yeah, I know it was just a weird off-the-turf race that came up fast. The other race horse ran are not necessarily indicative of that kind kind of number. So maybe there are some holes in the entry, and I thought that Super Nicky might be a little bit interesting at what could be a very good price.
I thought on the handicapping show, the number 10 imposing figure was a little bit interesting to me off of that bullet work out of the gate the other day. I thought the first-time starter in a race where if you get past the entry, there are no world beaters in here, certainly. So that one.
Yeah, and as a horse just debuting this horse in Saratoga, period, it feels like there's a little bit of intention. It's a half to Freudian dilemma, so there's no reason this horse couldn't run.
All right, we got about a minute left, but we'll take a look at the 6th here. A mile on the turf for 40 claimers. I used the number 4 on top, Live and Joy, just on the Ken Ramsey drop, trying to get a win at Saratoga angle. Went out to the number 12 in the 2nd spot, Monument Hill. Another horse. Oh, okay. Another one dropping, though, and my 3rd selection, also one that's getting some class relief, the number 9, Witch Market.
Yeah, I think that either Abilio is going to wire this field,
and I didn't know what to
hopefully they
do
are
with
aggressive with him, because when he's on the lead, he's a dangerous horse. Or Rusty Arnold's going to get off the duck in this race with Depeche Chat, who I think is very interesting, dropping down out of a very tough field that was wired last time out. Interesting races on an interesting card, and what's been a great summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that great summer has been your participation over here with us. We appreciated it all month long, and we'll hope to connect occasionally by the phone when we're back down in the studio.
Love to come on with you. You guys do a great job. You really do a great job, and you especially, you carry a lot of weight around here, and I think it makes a big difference for racing fans.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Andy Serling from the New York Racing Association. We'll take one more break. When we come back, I'm going to wrap things up, shut the lights out here for Capital OTB TV for the Saratoga 2014 meet, so stay tuned.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
When Saratoga ends, championship racing continues, beginning September 3rd with the Del Mar Futurity, live from the West Coast. Then, on September 27th, the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup headlines the biggest day of the Belmont Fall Meet. For these and all the championship thoroughbred races throughout the coming year, there's no better place to watch and wager than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
Funding your Capital OTB Bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
And welcome back as we wrap up a season up here at Saratoga. Saratoga 2014, where we have been absolutely lucky enough to be here live from the backstretch every racing day of the meet. It has been our pleasure. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And part of the pleasure has been going over to the front side during the meet and getting the great feedback from everybody. It's always, most of the year we're down in the studio in Schenectady and you get no feedback. So to come out here and hear how people appreciate the morning programming, it is very gratifying. We certainly, first and foremost, thank you, the fans, for making it so much fun to be out here and presenting the programming. We also want to thank NYRA for being great hosts and being hospitable enough to allow us out here on the backstretch year in and year out, so we appreciate that. Also want to go down the list of Capital OTB folks to thank for the morning programming. Anthony Mormino said it earlier on the Handicappers Report, and I'm a guy who owned a television production company. I was on the backside of the camera for many, many years, and it's a lot easier to be out here on the front. The folks who do the heavy lifting are those folks behind the camera. First and foremost, we have to thank a guest from earlier in the show, John Signor, president of Capital OTB, because obviously they make it all happen. Bob Dance, who down the chain a little further at Capital OTB, but he oversees us here on the TV side. Up here in Saratoga, it's Mick Richards and Brian Dorenzo who get it done day in and day out. Going down to Schenectady, Tim Hilliard, Pete Persico, Pat Peretta, Dan Hayes, Landis Burgess, Vinnie Westcott, Chris Northup. They're all down there doing all the work in Schenectady. The commercials you see, the video replays, the graphics and whatnot, that all gets funneled right through them each and every morning. They do a great job. Appreciate it. Thank all of those guys in Schenectady. And again, the guys up here as participants in the program. Teresa Gennaro, again, has been helping us get guests up here. We appreciate that. You can find her writing in the Saratogian, bloodhorseforbes.com, or her blog, Brooklyn Backstretch. Also want to thank Jeff Carl for his backstretch buzz pieces during the meet. Those were very, very good. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, the big guests only a golf cart ride away. Jonathan Shepard, just a couple of days. I enjoyed that. Jimmy Jerkins, the winner of both the Jim Dandy and the Travers. We've had Leah Giamatti on, Taylor Rice, Rajiv Mara, all the players that you want to see with some insights. We've had some of the background people. We've had talked about some of the charity events and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun here. Hopefully it was as much fun, entertaining, and informative for you. It is time to wrap things up. We're going to take a few days off as far as the morning programming is concerned. Obviously, the races in the afternoon will continue on the network, but the morning programming takes a couple days off. Come back opening day Friday when Belmont kicks off. So we hope you join us then and enjoy the last day of racing here at Saratoga. I'm turning out the lights. Again, thanks to all the guys for helping put the show together. Thanks to you for tuning in. Don't forget, if you have questions, comments, or suggestions on things you'd like to see for the show next year, it is viewer mail at capitalotb.com. We'd love to hear from you. Seth Merrow, Racing Across America. Again, I'm the last one here for the morning programming for Saratoga 2014. We'll see you again on Friday.
Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track. And Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.